President Trump just wrapped up his town hall here on NewsNation to mark his first 100 days in office. Came here tonight to discuss one question from the audience. Well, got some applause and some chuckles. It was a question about whether or not President Trump had made any mistakes in his first 100 days. Take a listen.
I don't really believe I've made
You
mistakes.
made any mistakes?
We're in a transition period. We're in a transition period.
I think Lee is reassured.
I think you're going to see tremendous economic victories over the next period of a year, like far greater than ever imagined.
With us now, Senator James Lankford of the great state of Oklahoma, member of the Finance Committee. Welcome, sir. Thanks for staying up late with us. We appreciate it. You agree with the president, no mistakes, tremendous economic growth.
I don't think anyone was surprised when he answered. I can't think of a mistake. I think zero Americans were surprised by that answer on that. He is one that has high risk, high reward focus. He's taken a lot of risks in his business career, been very, very successful. I think he's very focused on that now to say, hey, if it's not working exactly right, we're going to keep working until it does work.
Look, most Americans, especially working class Americans who elected him, will tell you the economy is not working for them, right? We can get agreement on that. President Trump was pushed by Bill O'Reilly, and I think rightfully so, on a timeline. Trump thinks he has more time than O'Reilly does. The question is, how long does President Trump on tariffs have from the Senate and from the House to continue his unilateral actions?
So I think as long as he's making progress, I think that's the big issue.
So what do you guys need to see?
Well, I would tell you, just in my own conversations with some of the administration officials, it's let's get the first two fish in the boat. There's 17, 18, 19, 20.
We've been promised that, though, for a couple weeks now.
I get it, but this only started about 3 weeks ago, is when it started. We lose track of the fact that it was the first week of April is when the president announced we're going to do tariffs and started the process of Liberation Day to be able to take off starting April the 2nd, and it just took off to be able to go from there. So there's a lot that's happened just over the last 3.5 weeks in this, and I think there's still a willingness, and I would tell you, farmers and ranchers in Oklahoma that I talk to, that everybody comes to me and says, okay, they're going to be panicked on it. No, they're not. They're not panicked because they want to see new markets. They understand their beef is not allowed to go into Australia, for instance. That makes absolutely no sense. We buy Australian beef. Australians are like, no, thank you. We're not going to buy American beef. So there's lots of markets that we think those should be open. Vietnam should be open. Korea should be open. Japan should be open. These are trading partners and allies, but they blocked us out for a long time. And I think a lot of people are like, okay, let's go settle it. But they're also saying, settle the first one, settle the second one, get it going.
In other words, I think you and I could both agree President needs wins.
Yeah, but I think he's going to get wins. Benjamin Netanyahu showed up within the week, and what Israel used to have a 17% tariff on the United States. He showed up and said, how about zero? That we're going to drop that. Immediately, Vietnam showed up literally within 48 hours for their trade delegation.
But they haven't made a deal yet. There's no deal yet.
Yeah, but trade deals are not like just signing up for a car and doing a contract on there. There's a lot of complications. There's a lot of issues that go into it. Many of these deals take years on it. They're trying to do multiples in months.
Okay. That is the tariff side of the economy. The one place that there was an enormous amount of agreement in this town hall, and it was amazing, James Carville, the Ragin' Cajun, it's the economy, stupid, for Bill Clinton, and Steve Bannon of MAGA world, Cuomo calls him the MAGA spirit animal, had agreement. Take a listen.
So Steve says that he's going to raise taxes on the rich to help pay for the tax cuts for the middle class this time.
I hope that Steve is right. I don't think he is.
Why?
Because I think they're going to cut tax. I think they're going to keep the tax cuts for the billionaires. If he's right, if they raise taxes on rich people and help middle class people, and they keep expanding health care for middle class people and subsidies to help so people can buy insurance, if they keep doing that and they tax billionaires, you know what? I'm going to come on your show, Chris, and say, you know, I got it wrong.
Carville going to have to apologize to Cuomo?
I would say there's this big focus about how much can you go raise taxes on people. That's not the desire to be able to do this. We want to be able to have a growing economy. Right now, the fight is we want to keep the tax rates the way they are. If you listen to James Carville close, he was like, they're not going to go raise taxes on these folks because he knows that the focus right now is just to not have the tax rates change at all, just to be able to lock it in where they were. Corporate rates, small businesses, individuals, lock those rates in where they are right now. That's created one of the greatest economic booms that we have had in a generation. If you look at 2017 in the tax bill and you look at the revenue increase that's happened since then, it's dramatic. It all expires December the 31st of this year. If our most basic principle is just extend what we have right now, keep that going.
Okay. I'm just going to push you on this a little bit, because there is this desire in the populist wing of the Republican Party to get no taxes on tips, no taxes in overtime, in exchange for an increase on taxes in millionaires and billionaires, as they would call it.
Right.
Non-starter.
Yeah, I don't see it as a non-starter. There's not
you see it as a non-starter?
I do. I see it as a non-starter because there's not an aggressive push to be able to say, let's go find some people we can go raise taxes on. The reason we have taxes at all is because we have expenses as a government. Let's have the fairest, most level playing field that we can for every single tax bracket on it, and to be able to have an equal way that we actually do taxes on it, and then to be able to bring in what we need to be able to cover what's actually happening and all the expenses on this.
The point has been made over and over that President Trump's poll numbers are down. That does not necessarily mean his political power is down.
And he argued it's because bad polling. I did hear that very clearly in the town hall meeting.
He does. Yeah. Although that kind of sounds like the Joe Biden argument, doesn't it, from a couple of years ago?
Sure. I get it.
You get it? Okay. But his poll numbers are down. I think you may agree with me also, though, that his political power is not down. You think about the border.
Right.
You think about what he's done with DEI. Enormous speed and success that I think everybody was surprised by in Washington. Is he not a little bit more powerful 100 days in than people thought he would be?
No, I think he's been very active. He's been very aggressive. I think it's 4 years of pent-up energy. I would tell you the week after the election happened in November, I sat down with my staff here in Washington, D.C., and I said, okay, for those of you that were here during the first Trump administration, you know what we're walking into. For those of you that were just hired during the Biden administration, buckle up, because things are going to move much faster than what they have been under the Biden administration. Boy, have they. They've moved at exceptional speed, but they've also had 4 years of thinking about this. And so for executive orders and actions and what they were going to actually implement in policy, they were able to move on that very rapidly. Like the border closing literally within a week and a half, we went from thousands a day coming to 200 people trying to, and even those folks are arrested and turned around.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.